Hey there, viewers, welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. There's a 2015 Nissan. It's a Sentra. It's got the big 1.8, and apparently the battery goes dead if the vehicle sits for any period of time. I guess even just a couple hours, they can't get it started. They jump it, starts and runs, and continues to run until they shut it off again. Customer told me they've had it on the third shop they've been to. They've on their third battery, which oddly enough is even the wrong battery, but it's a battery. So 3 batteries is my understanding and 1 alternator. And the shops just want to keep putting batteries and alternators on it. So they want to figure out what's going on. Why do they have to jump start it every time they want to use the car? So we're going to check that out. I brought it in before lunch, put the charger on it, set it on nuclear, and it's up to about 90-some% charged. Like I say, it's not the correct battery for the vehicle, and we're going to kind of have to disregard the fact a little bit to a certain degree that the battery is probably not any good because it's been killed so many times, in this current condition. So we're going to kind of look past that. We're going to open the driver's door. It's got the little push button. We're going to have to keep that button shut. And then we're going to hook the negative battery up, and then we're going to put a meter on it and see how much current is being drawn out of the battery after we let it sit for, half hour, 40 minutes, whatever, with the key off. And then that way we can get an assessment as far as what the heck's going on. How big's this draw? And then we got to start tracking it down to what circuit it's on and then find out what the heck it is. So this baby fired up. Oh, I guess we better put that how it needs to be. Put it over on the amperage side. We're going to use amps internal. And I like using a meter, running it through the meter more so than using a amp clamp. Simply because these are more accurate. Amp clamps drift over time, in my experience. So I like doing it this way. We're going to set it right up on the highest scale we have right now, which is 10 amps. And then we're going to unhook the charger. Like I say, it's got to be just about done. It was up to 90 percentile. We're going to stick the negative battery on here for just a second, just to get rid of the big draw, initial draw. There's no lights on the inside. I have both front doors open with the door jar switch push shut, or flick shut there. So let's see what our draw is right now. So right now our draw is 300 milliamps. Let me get the phone, I'll show you. I expected to see something higher than that. It's already gone down to 140. So right now we're at 137 milliamps. So I'm gonna give this some time. Certainly that is not gonna kill the battery instantaneously. I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the screen. And then we're gonna let this just sit here for a while. Let that go across. I can't fathom that he has just another bad battery, unless they've really been putting junk batteries in it. But this will tell us the truth. We should be less than 150 milliamps. I'm expecting, most modern cars are around 20, to 30 milliamps. So I'll let this sit here for a while. We'll come back and I'll check in with you guys. All right, well, let's see. I think it's been well over an hour at this point. I lost track of time here. So let's see where we're at here. We'll let this thing fire back up. It continues to draw current through, the meter even when it's not on, obviously. So let's go back here to our graphing meter, and then we'll go to amps internal. We'll see where we're at here. Oh, it's down to 40 milliamps. So there is no draw. Well, that's kind of unusual. Makes for a stupid video. I went ahead and tested the battery, even though it's not fully charged. I did test it. Of course, it tests bad. It comes up at 290 cold cranking amps. But the state of charge is only 66% charged. So I guess we can keep that in mind. Like I say, it is the wrong battery, clearly, for the car. It's too small. But it's kind of suspicious that, they say it's a third battery. So I'm going to give it the benefit of, I took the clamps off the doors. We're going to hook that up. The only thing I didn't do last time was have the vehicle locked, as if, the customer had it sitting in their driveway. So I'm going to sneak this back under here, clamp this back on here. We'll pull it back off. I've got some other work to do, so I'm going to let this sit here. Where's it at here? Yeah, so it's at, just dropped down to 150, which I think is what it did before, right? So we're at 150 milliamps. Oops, it just went up higher. 170, 130, so it's bounced around there a little bit. I'll let this steady out. I'll try to pay attention to it to see it's exactly, well, we had hooked up for about an hour last time. It's 3 o'clock right now. I'll come back and, you know, periodically and see where this is at, see how long it takes to time out. It's just, I'm really suspicious that maybe something's getting overlooked. Maybe we'll have to test this some more. I think we're gonna end up probably getting a battery for it. But sometimes this is the funky stuff that happens. Maybe we'll take and we'll check it when it's stone cold. You know, leave it sit outside, do another draw test on it, get it heated up again. Of course, I brought it in shortly after the customer dropped it off. I mean, it's still warm. I mean, it's still warm at touch. It's probably, you know, 100 degrees or so coolant temp. So we'll just have to keep trying here just to see. And I mean, if there's no draw, there's no draw. We'll have to get a battery for it and go from there, I guess. Oh yeah, lost track of time again. 45 minutes went by, and I don't know what time it switched over, but we're down to 40 milliamps, so that's fine. I'm gonna call the customer, see if we can get, you know, see maybe they can warranty this battery. It should have a group 35 in it. This is a 26R, but you can see it's very tiny on the tray, and it's obviously shorter than what was in it. So, it's kind of frustrating, but this is life. So I got a hold of the customer just to find out the story. And so this battery may potentially not have been changed 3 times. It may have been changed, the original one and this one. They took it to a shop and they were gonna put one in it, so on and so forth. Anyhow, long story short, as they say, got it from the Advance Auto. It's a diehard. The date code's 5 of 22. I called down to the Advance Auto. Apparently this particular battery is their cheapest battery they sell. It's a 12-month warranty. So, you know, it's probably not the best of construction. Plus it's the wrong battery. Like I said, it should have a group 35 in it. So we're gonna take this out. I called them, I gave Advance Auto the customer's name. He looked it up. The guy bought it 6 of 22. It's now 1 of 23. So it's only, you know, 6 months old. So I think this is what we're gonna do. They're gonna send me the better battery, their top of the line one, they called it, in a group 35. We're gonna put the correct battery in it. The customer's just gonna pay me the difference between the warranty of this one and whatever he owes Advance Auto for the exchange. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna warm it up. We're gonna fiddle with some stuff on the inside. We're gonna double check it for a draw. If there's no draw, I'm gonna give it back to the customer and say, tough luck, buddy. No, we'll just give it back to him and see what happens. I'm thinking we got a case of the El Cheapos here. So it's kind of a strange video, but this is what happens. This is part of your day-to-day in the shop, you know. I just show it how it comes my way, folks, I guess. I don't really know how else to say it. I did ask the customer about these washers and stuff, and he did admit that he did that because when he looked the battery up, they, you know, this is what they told him was the correct battery. However, when he went to Advance Auto to pick it up, they told him that if he wants it to fit, he's got to buy the spacer and all this other stuff. So it doesn't really sound like a like a real OEM fit to me, but whatever. Let's get a screwdriver and wedge them washers up out of there. And then when I called the Advance Auto, because I was pretty sure it takes a 35. When I called the Advance Auto, he told me it took a group 21, which I've never even heard of a 21. And then he admittedly never heard of a 21 either, nor could he get it. So I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, dude. Fortunately, he was cool enough to send me the 35. Which should fill the tray, should fill up the tray correctly. And that's where that one goes. So fortunately, we still have good enough hardware here. Yep, and then that'll fit, you know, because the one that's in there is only taking up this much of the tray. So we'll get the new one, that'll fit in there good. Blow some of this junk out of there, but The things to think about are what can intermittently cause a draw. So a relay that gets latched on, you know, but that's not real common on these. I even looked for some silver bullets on Identifix to see, and there's not a common denominator here. Okay, I think they had 6 or 7 cases on the radios going bad on these, causing a draw. But the more I talk to this customer, I'm pretty sure we're just having battery issues, because apparently it's been a little while since it acted up. They put the battery in and it was fine for a long time. Now we're back to being bad again. I think I see what's going on here. All right, let's see here. We got our group 35. Like I say, they just charge us the difference for this battery. Look at this baby put in here. Get my fingers to work here. Get that thing off. We'll figure out how our tray goes on. Let's see, this is the shorter bolt over here. Oh. Now you did it. There we go. Now I can hang on to it. This actually has an arrow on it, so we'll get it pointing in the right direction here. Like so. Stick one of the nuts on it so we don't lose it. All right. We should be able to get this one on here in the back. In the right spot, I believe so. Seems like a lot of thread sticking up. Let me get a light here so make sure we're doing it right. It's only slot back there, so it has to be right. Get that where it needs to be. We'll snug her up just a little bit. That'll keep our battery stationary. Slide positive up on there. I thought they had a gold series battery, but apparently this is their better battery. So there's that. We'll get our next. Whoa! Jeez, ain't nobody stealing you, dude. Getting all excited. I'll loosen it up a little bit more. Make sure it's seated out on there all the way. Snug that little guy up. We'll spritz him with a little fluid film. I'm about 99% certain we're going to be done with this little fella after talking with the customer some more. We're just dealing with junk batteries here. There was some of the film. Keep it from getting crusty. Keep them from getting stuck. And I think that's it, folks. As complicated sometimes as we think things are, sometimes, well, it's as simple as that. At the end of it all, folks, we just need to follow our facts, and that's what we did here. You know, we did a draw test on it, essentially a couple times, 2-3 times I think it was that we did one, and it never came up with anything. You know, we're drawing, 40 milliamps or whatever it was, some, insignificant amount of draw, so less than 50 milliamps. So most cars that are good that you test will be somewhere between, 20 and 65, we'll say, but usually on the low end of things, in the 20s or 30s, and they'll last, a long time like that. You can do the math. If I don't see a draw, if the charging system's working, everything's good, the battery test junk, it is what it is. Could there be an intermittent draw? There could be. These vehicles aren't, really notorious for it. So I'm going to take and just give it the benefit of the doubt. We're just, we're going to warm it up and make sure the charging system works. I'll check it again while it's hot, check it again while it's cold. And you can only check it so many times. And at some point you got to just, let it go back to the customer. I believe that they just had a junk battery. A, it was the wrong battery, and B, it was the cheapest battery you could buy, and C, even the guy at Vanessa O says those batteries are junk. So no big surprise. And after talking with the customer, discussing with them, they don't think that the last shop they were at actually warranted the battery out like he said, because the date code and stuff didn't match. So there's some misinformation there. I'm not going to misinform you guys though if he comes back in a month or 2 months or 6 months and says I was wrong. And I'll let you know. We'll do a follow-up video if that's the case. But anyways, I want you guys to follow up with me down in that comment section. Questions, comments, concerns, Insta, Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.